All right, so here's the problem set. I just realized now writing the date here is the 16th. It's my youngest daughter's birthday today. She turned 7. I know, 7 years old. It's crazy. So I put down my other daughter's name, but that's all right. All right, so here's the concept that we're going to learn today, okay? This is where the arrays are going to come in, and this is where our concept of numerically comes in, all right? So this top part is the example, okay? If I zoom in on the top part here, I can see that it says 5 times 10 equals 50, all right? I think we know that. If we count by tens 5 times, we're going to get 5, 10, 15, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, okay? But over here, it shows, well, if I just multiply the 1, say 5 times 1, I'm going to get 5. But if I just make that 10, 5 tens, it turns out to be 50, all right? It's a different way to think about it. So over here is the way we thought about it. First, we didn't do 5 times 10 off the bat. What we did was 5 times 1 and say, hey, that's 5. All right, and then we took that 5 and then multiplied it by 10 to get 50, okay? So bear with me, we're gonna work with this a little bit here. So we're gonna draw place value discs and arrows as shown to represent each product. Okay, so here I see 5 times 100. So what I wanna do is say, all right, 5 times 100. Let's do 5 times 10 times 10. So the first thing I'm going to do is do 5 times 1. So let's show those 5 ones. I'm just going to write those in over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So what I did off the bat was 5 times 1. And then what I'm going to do is multiply that. I'm going to take all of that and I'm going to multiply that by 10. All right? Because that's tens. Every time you go to a new place value is 10. And what does that give me? That gives me 5 tens, all right? That gives me 50, right? And then I'm gonna take that, I'm gonna multiply that by 10 to get over to the hundreds place. And then that's gonna give me 5 of those, all right? And then that's gonna get me 5 hundreds, okay? So 5 times 100. If you can just count by hundreds 5 times, you're going to say 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. You're going to know that's 500, okay? If I do 5 times 1, or 5 times 10, that's also going to be 500. All right, so you see what we did here is this 100, they decomposed it into a 10 times 10, all right? And you still end up with 500. And then finally, you got 5 ones times 100. 5 ones times 100 is going to be 5 hundreds. Okay? Now, I know this probably can be a little bit confusing for you, all right? And to be honest with you, it's a new way of thinking for me as well. I'm not used to thinking this way. So what I'm going to do is understand, I'm going to grab on to what I really know, and I'm going to lean on that. And I'm going to open my mind to think a different way about this a little bit, okay? But, all right, I know this. I know that if I'm asked to do these problems here on the side, I can probably just do that numerically, all right, from the things I know about numbers and things I've been taught. This over here is new and a little scary, but we're just going to kind of work through it and see how we can do, okay? All right, so I see 5 times 1,000. So 5 times 1,000. I know the answer to that. It's 5,000, right? If I count by 1,000 5 times, I'm going to end up with 5,000, right? Also, if I just do, say, 5 times 1, well, that's 5. And I follow it with my 3 zeros, that's 5,000, okay? Now, what they did here is 5 times 10 times 10 times 10. They decomposed this 1,000 into those 3 tens. 1,000 is actually equal to 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. See, what that means here is every time you go up, you know, if I go from 1s to 10s, that's times 10. That's that 110. If I go from 10s to 100s, that's times 10, right? And if I go from 100s to 1,000s, that's times 10. So what they're trying to show us here is that we can start in the 1s, and if you just keep multiplying by 10, 3 times, you're going to end up in a thousands place, okay? So this is also 5,000, okay? So 5 ones times 1,000 is going to end up with being 5 thousandths, okay? And we write this one out. Now, let's show what that looks like here. What it looks like here is I got the same thing I've got all the way down, okay? So what you see up here, that was just times 10. This was times 2 tens. Now down here, we're multiplying by 3 tens, because every time you go up a place value, you multiply by 10. So if I just do 5 times 1, I get 5 ones. I multiply that by 10, I'm going to get 50. I multiply that by 10, let me circle them, group them together. If I multiply that by 10, I get 500ths, okay? And then if I multiply that by 10, I get 5 thousandths, okay? So each time we go across the place value, you're basically multiplying by 10. And that's the pattern we're looking for here, okay? All right? Again, keep your mind open on this. All right, let's check out some of these problems down here, okay? I have the utmost confidence that you'll probably do this on your own, okay? So what I'm going to let you do, we're going to do the first one together, and then I'm going to have the teachers pause this, and then see how you do on the rest. And then the teachers are going to play after about, I don't know, 1 or 2 minutes, and see how you did, all right? I'll have the answers here in just a moment, okay? So teachers, hit pause now. Okay, so hopefully you went through this, did it okay. Some of these were tricky because they had the equations going in the opposite direction than you're used to. Sometimes the equations go from right to left, all right? And the equations are on the opposite side of the problem. So we're going to go through those, all right? So here are the answers, all right? What I came up with here is if we just go A first, 6 times 10 is 60. All right, I don't think there was any problems with that. 6 tens is 60. Over here, they got blank times 6. Well, blank times 6 is 600. I've got 100 times 6 equals 600. You see how you're going across this way? And we're dealing with the same numbers, just getting bigger each time. And then 6,000 is equal to 6 times 1,000. See how the equal sign here kind of throws you off? All right. Let's go down to the next row here for D. 10 times 4 is 40. All right, that's pretty straightforward. Over here, 4 times a number is 400. Well, 4 hundreds is 400, okay? And then a number times 4 is 4,000. That'd be 1,000 times 4 is 4,000, okay? And then down here, I got G. 1,000 times 9, that's equal to 9,000. 9 1,000s. A number equals 10 times 9. So 10 times 9 is 90, all right? Even though this is on the right side of the equation, I still want to read it 10 times 9. I still read this from left to right. Just that the equal sign is on this side, okay? I don't read this as 9 times 10. I still read it as 10 times 9. Then over here, 900 is equal to blank times 100. Well, that'd be 9 times 100 is 900, okay? If you think your way through these, you'd be just fine. Let's take a look at the back. All right, the back here has got some more, all right? And these are a little bit different, the way they are. So we're gonna kind of work through these a little bit. All right, the first thing I want you to do is numerically was take a look here. It says draw place values and arrows to represent each product, okay? So what I'm gonna do is 12 times 10. Well, I know 12 tens is gonna be, looks like this. It's 120, okay? 12 tens is 120. And I'm going to show you how to represent that on this chart over here. So 110 and 2 ones times 10 is equal to, 12 tens. Okay? It's equal to 12 tens. So this is what it looks like. See the number 12 has got a 2 in the ones place, so I'm just going to put 2 solid little discs there for that. And it's got a 1 in the tens place, so I'm going to put a little 1 there like that, okay? So that's where my 12 is. It's 110 and 2 ones. All right, so far so good. All right, so if I multiply that by 10, so I'm going to multiply this by 10, that's going to give me 2 tens, right? That makes sense? If I multiply this by 10, okay, I bring it over to this, multiply it by 10, I cross over, it's going to give me 100, right? So if you take a look at this, what you see here is I've got 100 and 2 tens. And that's what I actually have, is 100 and 2 tens. Okay? That's how that works. It's an interesting way to take a look at it. It's definitely not how my brain works. And to be honest with you, I had to study this quite a while before I got to even be able to teach this to you. All right? And I'm teaching it to you the best way I can. All right? So down here at 5, let's take a look. 18 times 100. I know this from last year. I know in 3rd grade we talked about this. I see 100 has 2 zeros at the end, so I just know 18, that's 1800, all right? So it's 1,800. Well, in the same thing here, you see they decompose this 100 into 10 times 10. So I'm going from the ones and over 2 place values to 100. So it's multiplied by 10 twice. That's where those come from, okay? So I know that's the same number. I'm going to end up with 1,800. And then down here, we're talking about hundreds. So it ends up being 1800s. Let me write that down. All right, so let's see what it looks like over here. 18, right here, this number, has got 110. So I'm going to put a little solid disk in for that. And it's got 8 ones. So I'm going to put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, okay? So now I got to multiply those by 10, okay? So I'm going to multiply that by 10 this way. So I'm going to, this gets multiplied by 10, so I'm going to take all these 8s, and I'm going to multiply that by 10, and I'm going to end up with, say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there is 80, right? And I take that 110 and I multiply that by 10, and I end up with 100 right there, like that, okay? Now I need to multiply that again, all right? So each one needs to be multiplied by 10 again. So this one has to end up getting out to the hundreds place. So I need to multiply this by 10, and I'm going to end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hundreds. And this one I got to multiply again. Okay, I got to multiply, because we're multiplying by 100 is 2 tens. I got to multiply that to 1,000. Okay, so I end up with 1,800. Okay, so each one need to be multiplied by 10 twice. Needed to cross over 2 place values. Okay, 2 place values, and that's how that ends up. All right, down here, 25 times 1,000. Well, that's 25,000. All right, if I count by 1,000 25 times, I'm going to get 25,000. I know this is 25,000. All right, and then I know 2 tens, 5 ones is times 1,000 is equal to 25 thousands. Okay, so let's see what that looks like. I'm going to take this 25, and I'm going to place those 5 ones over here. So 1, 2, 3. Come up here a little bit on my screen. 4, 5. And then I'm going to take those 2 tens. 1, 2. All right. Now I got to multiply each of those by 10. So let's start with the ones first, okay? So I'm going to multiply this by 10 3 times. See those tens? So if I multiply this times 10, I'm going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tens, which is 50. That's multiplying by 10 one time. I'm going to multiply it by 3. So I got to take this again, slide it over here, and I'm going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, multiplied it by 10 twice. I'm in the hundreds now. The last time, I got to multiply this again by a 10. Okay, that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I end up with 5 thousandths. So that 5 in the ones place here in the 25 ended up at 5,000, okay? So now I got to come back here in the tens place, that 2 tens, I got to multiply that 3 times. I got to get that over 3 place values, okay? So I'm going to multiply this by 10. I get 1, 2 hundreds. Multiply it again by 10. I get 1, 2 thousands, and then a third time. 1, 2 10 thousands, all right? So you see how this is 10,000 and 2,000, which is 12,000? That ends up being 12,000. So this is where we both ended up right there, okay? Again, this is not coming easy to me, and I don't expect it to come super easy to you, but it does make some sense, and we'll do some more practice with that, okay? So don't fear, all right? All right, so now we're down here to the final one. Feel free to do this on your own. You can pause here and check your answers, or you can just follow me as we do it. All right, so I've got 3 times 40 is equal to 3 times 4 times 10, right? So what we did is 3 times 4, that's 20, that's 12, I'm sorry. And then that's 10, bring the 10 down. So 12 times 10 is equal to 120. Cool. Here's 8. 3 times 200 is equal to 3 times 2. See, we're just taking that 2 times 100. Okay, we just broke that apart with 2 times 100. All right, so 3 times 2 is 6 times 100. That comes out to be 600, just like that, okay? It's kind of like decomposing numbers, breaking them down, building them back up again. And then finally, number 9 is 4 times 4,000. So what I want to do first is just do 4 times 4. I want to get that separated. And then what's left over is 1,000, okay? Because that 4,000 decomposes into 4 times 1,000. 4 times 4 is 16. I bring this down and make it 1,000. So 16 times 1,000 is 16,000. Just like that. And then finally, I got 5 times 4,000. So I'm going to separate those. I like to get those numbers separated, 5 times 4, because that's an easier number for me to do. And we're still dealing with the thousands place here. So the 5 times 4, that's 20 times 1,000. So 21 thousands is equal to 20,000, okay? All right, kids, that's the lesson for today. We're going to build on this over for the next few days. We're going to keep working at these arrays. We're going to keep working hard at understanding what's going on here. And my hope is that it starts making a little bit more sense to you, all right? But it's going to take some work. It's not how I'm used to thinking. It's not how we were taught how to think for a while. So you know what? This is going to take a little bit of work. But as long as you understand some patterns here, maybe we'll do some whiteboard work today or the next day, just to understand the patterns of 10, 100, and 1,000 when you're multiplying by them, okay? All right, guys, thanks for your attention today. Make sure you're paying attention in class. Make sure you're smiling, all right? We'll see you tomorrow.